Olá, muito boa tarde a todos e a todas. Estamos de volta aqui ao palco ANAC. Há marcas que marcam no setor da aviação, são algumas. Airbus é um nome que mesmo os mais alheios a estes temas conhecem. Podem até não saber os modelos dos aviões, com aquelas letras todas e os números, enfim, mas conhecem com certeza este nome e por isso hoje neste palco marca a presença o vice-presidente da Southern Europe and Israel da Airbus International, Cesar Sanchez. Pode vir. Eu gosto de me cruzar com os oradores no palco, sobretudo os que são simpáticos.
Muito obrigado.
Boa comunicação.
Obrigado. Boa tarde. Eu gosto muito de falar português. Gostaria muito de falar todo o tempo português, mas acho que, primeiro, meu português não é perfeito. E também para a gente que está a conectar-se, vou falar um pouquinho de inglês também. Airbus in Portugal. Well, I will deliver my keynote in two parts. First of all, a quick introduction about Airbus in Portugal. Why? Because even though we have serious investment in the country, for many people, the position of Airbus in Portugal is not very well known, so I will deliver a couple of slides about that, and then I will talk about sustainability. So, what is Airbus in Portugal? We like to call ourselves a strategic partner. Why we are a strategic partner? Because we have, from all the divisions of Airbus, we have business and activities in Portugal. So, in light of industrial corporations, the Portuguese supply chain is integrated in the Airbus supply chain. And as a matter of fact, more than half of the Portuguese aerospace and defense companies, they are working in one way or another for Airbus. Also, Portugal is involved in all the range of commercial aircraft we have. So from the A320 to the A330, 50, etc., we have sub-assemblies from Airbus Commercial. We have a new facility in Santo Tirso, we'll talk later on. And also not only for Airbus Commercial, also for helicopters, we have Portuguese companies that are working for us. Not only about the manufacturing, also we have a research and technology and innovation project. Here are some of the colleagues participating in the event. Long time ago, more than 10 years ago, we were working together on the Portuguese cluster to work with Airbus in the Clean Sky 2 project. It was a long time ago. It was a very successful story. And now this is already flying. You can see that in the news that recently we fly these technologies. And also for general information, all the divisions of Airbus are in Portugal. Despite the COVID, we maintained the procurement in the country. So 2021, over 69 million euros and growing. And this is also something that many people don't know yet. More than 1,500 Portuguese direct jobs supported in Portugal and 5,000 indirect and growing rapidly. So to put some figures on this speech, here you have in this graph what we have done until now, 18, 19, 20, 21. Of course, these figures are very much influenced by the COVID. Nevertheless, what we have in front of us, 22, 23, 4, 5, you can see the growth. So here we have activities for the global business services. This is a business services for all the geographies, all the business of the countries in Airbus that is already open in Lisbon. We have Airbus Atlantic in Santo Tirso, commercial and production of industrial parts, and the supply chain of the Portuguese industry. So as a summary, even though during 2018-2021 the growth was significant, 16%, in the future we expect to grow at a higher rate, 25% expected. Some of the examples of the commercial press we have. C-295, 12 aircraft flying in the Air Force, light utility helicopters. Most of these helicopters are flying by private operators. And now we are in intense discussions also to discuss with the Air Force and with the government of Portugal. 100 aircraft in operation in the Portuguese Airlines, thereof more than 80 flying in TAP, a very important customer for Airbus also, not only because of the volume, because TAP was very innovative to fly new models and a new concept of aircraft. For instance, in 2018, TAP to delivery of the world's first new generation A330neo. And also other operators, Highfly, Azores Airlines, Orvest, Springjet, White Airways. We have different and plenty of commercial customers in Portugal. So on top of that, defense and security, another part of Airbus. We are supporting and working close to the government and the ministries for the coastal vessel traffic surveillance, TerraSAR, military SATCOM. So our footprint in the country, Lisbon and Braga, you can see that. And here are a couple of examples of major investment. First of all, Airbus Atlantic in Santo Tirso. This is a new assembly plant from Airbus. It is working since 2021, but we officially inaugurated that the 14th of September with the presence of the Prime Minister, Antonio Costa, Alberto Gutiérrez, the Chief Operational Officer of the Group Airbus, Cedric Gauthier, the head of Airbus Atlantic. This is the biggest investment in the aerospace industry in Portugal since 2008. It is around 40 million investment. For the time being, 250 jobs created and more than 20,000 square meters. This, as it is today, is already a very important investment, but the possibilities of growth and the plans of growth are also very important with the pass of the years. I say that because in this industry, nothing is going very fast. We like to say, aeronautical engineers, we like to say that nothing is going fast in this industry except the flights and when flying. When the aircraft are on ground, are also slow. So with the industry similar, things are not going very fast, but they're going very steady. And when you get some development, not only in jobs, also in added contribution value for the country, the multiplier factor is the highest in the world. So for each euro invested in aeronautics, normally between 4 and 8 euros are coming back to the country. And this is something very important to highlight. Here, and this is something that is in the spirit of my speech, but this is a long-term product. So it's a project that is not here only because of commercial spin-off. It's not here it's not an offset. It's not here associated to the sales of 1 or 2 products. This is a long-term autonomous project based on the Portugal capabilities and competitiveness. So this project is having a life in itself, and the plan is maintaining that for the future. Second, the Global Business Center in Lisbon. It was opened in 21 also, and today we employ more than 350 experts with the ambition to grow to 800 or more in the coming months, years, by 2025. Highlight here that, and this is funny because every time I present this slide, I have to update that. Last time it was 25 nationalities. I was 2 days ago with the head of this GBC, and he told me, no, it's not 25, we have now 31. So I updated that, just to show the dynamics of this. So this is in Campo das Nações in Lisboa, and you can see the new facilities we have. And the idea of this center is to have in Lisbon, in Portugal, a center that will cover the services, internal services, accounting, some engineering also, for all the countries' division functions of the group. It's the first time we have such a center in Airbus. So now talking about sustainability a little bit. This graph, it was already displayed yesterday, today, so we have already discussed a lot about this. With more or less fine-tuning, it doesn't matter. What is important here is that we are talking about the trend of the efficiency, what is the level of CO2 in the atmosphere if we do nothing, what is the level if we start to do some things? So we have 5 main drivers. One is latest generation aircraft. So what we can achieve with the current available technologies if they were flying in all the aircraft. We have also disruptive technologies to come. We have also operations and infrastructure, sustainable aviation fuels, and then the regulators, so market-based measures. Latest generation aircraft. Today, 80% of the current fleet is not the latest standard of Airbus. So it means that only because of the fleet replacement, we could achieve 20 to 30 CO2 savings. This is one message. Operations and infrastructure. This is not counting for the biggest stand, but this is 10%. And when we talk about operations and infrastructures, it's not only airports. It's also operations. So the way we operate the aircraft, how we manage the air traffic management, will also bring associated improvements. Of course, in order to achieve that, and associated to that, we need to improve the technologies about separation of aircraft and safety. Sustainable aviation fuels. And this is a very important topic we discussed before in a panel. This counts for around 50% of the savings we mentioned before. So today, we can say that flying 100% sustainable aviation fuel could reduce CO2 emissions by up to 85%. Obviously, this is a big part of the cake. And because of that, we have put in place, let me show that here, a whole ecosystem. Is not only Airbus, Airbus is part of that, but it's a whole ecosystem where sustainable aviation fuel and H2 deployments are managed globally. And obviously, we need to work with engine manufacturers, with all of them. Engine manufacturers, together with Airbus as pioneer, it is fundamental. But also we have infrastructure partnerships, airports. We have the airlines, because we need to try that in real life. So the airlines. We need to also work with these fuel worldwide actions. There are different actions in Europe, in America, in different places, where also the government, the regulators, they are putting in place actions to get to this point. So this is a whole ecosystem where, working all together, we plan to achieve these targets. At Airbus level, we have, and it was mentioned also before in the panels, there is a major target to have these zero emissions by 2050. This is a very demanding target for the future. But we, in Airbus, we want to go a little bit higher, and we have a different target, which is achieving these zero emissions by 2035 in our aircraft. This will not be in the whole ecosystem, but at least in our aircraft, we want to do that. Why? Because the tendency, the trend, is that every more or less 15 years, the amount of aircraft flying in the world, I'm talking only about commercial aircraft, will be double. So the target is, even though the figure, the amount of aircraft flying will go double, we want to keep the global emissions very limited. And in the future, we want to get these zero emissions. So this is the targets, and we are working on that. If we come back to disruptive technologies, how to achieve that? Well, our ambition is to bring to the market these zero emissions by 2035, as I said before. In order to achieve that, we have a line of investigation, which is what we call Zero-E. Here you see three aircraft, how to achieve that: a regional aircraft, a turboprop, a flying wing, and a normal commercial aircraft. With these three prototypes, flight demonstrators, we will test all the technologies in order to achieve this target. Of course, as I mentioned before, and this is very important to highlight, this is a whole ecosystem. So it's not only Airbus, it's the whole ecosystem, and then we want to make sure that we achieve this target. And last but not least, I said before about the regulators. I said before about measures driven by the governments, by the institutions. We have a big amount of institutions in the panel before. Some of them that were talking. And also we have voluntary measures. So with these two actions, because many times the problem is not the technology. Many times people is asking for the flying taxis. We have already flying taxis. If you go to big air shows, you go to Le Bourget, to Farnborough, you will see the display in the static exhibition, the Bahana. You will see many prototypes, flight demonstrators, produced by Airbus that they are flying already. They can fly already, electrical taxis, flying taxis. The problem is not having this technology, which is a challenge. The problem is how to introduce that in the airspace. And this is not only a technological problem, it's also a problem of regulation. So we are obliged to work closely with the regulators to achieve these new disruptive technologies, new ways of transporting, of commuting, of how to put a flying taxi from the airport to the center of the city without major problems. And just as a conclusion, we say together we are sustainable. Why? Because, and this is the commitment I want to deliver today, the 3 key messages I have for you today. We are committed to take the leadership positions towards a clean airspace. For many years, starting in the year 2000, we have in the European Union, led by the European Commission, some important joint ventures, groups of work like Clean Sky. We are starting with Clean Sky 1. Now we are working in Clean Sky 3. And every 7 years, we have a new program. In this Clean Sky, we are the leaders. But this is only one initiative. We have many more initiatives. We are committed to take the leadership position to achieve that. Secondly, we want to engage with the whole ecosystem. We cannot work today, as in the past, for many technologies that were working more in silos. Today, this is not working anymore. We need to work with the whole ecosystem. And we have to broaden the umbrella for the whole ecosystem, involving not only the authorities, but the engine manufacturers, fuel manufacturers, all the scope of stakeholders that are needed to achieve that. And last but not least, we are, and we have, and we keep increasing our innovation budget to make it possible. In the past 15 years, we invested a lot in fuel cells. Fuel cells are part of the discussion, but today we know that, at least for the coming years, we will not have an A320, a major airliner that can fly only with batteries, fuel cells. We need something else. We invested already millions and millions and millions of euros in doing that. And now we are already doing that again for hydrogen, H2, new ways of fuel. So we are committed to keep investing in that because the target is the same. We want to get these zero emissions by 2035 and for sure achieve the 2050 target that is an international target. So this is the time we have today. Thank you very much. And of course, we have plenty of time later on for your questions. Thank you.